Today I want to show you how to clean your wood stove or your chimney pipe, and in doing this, even the first time, you can save yourself hundreds of dollars. Hey everybody, Chad Cruiser here with Health and Homestead. The average chimney cleaning is going to cost you anywhere from around maybe $130 on the low end to just shy of $400. So the tools that you need are going to, if you already have like screwdrivers and such, the tools that you're going to need are roughly $60 or even less depending on how you buy it. So these are the basic two things you're going to need, and actually they work together as one. These are the Rutland fiberglass chimney brush extension rods, and this is going to be 18 feet worth of rods. Now, depending on how long your chimney is, you're going to need as many rods. I mean, if it's 25 or 30 feet, you're going to have to make sure to get that many feet of rods. And then I have the poly brush that is sold separately, but these two things work together. And by using this, now there's two options. There's either the poly brush, which is the plastic bristle brush, or you could get the metal one, but really the metal one is likely going to do some damage after a while. So you want to save your chimney pipe as long as you can. And so getting the poly brush is probably what you're going to want to do. Now this goes without saying, I guess you already know this, but you wouldn't do this right after you had a rip-roaring fire. You want it to be cooled down thoroughly so that you're not melting your brush as you go up, or you're also not dropping a lot of that creosote, flaming hot creosote down on you. Now that's kind of obvious, but let's just get that out of the way for safety. Now there's three ways to clean your chimney pipe. You can either get on the roof, or you can remove an extension of the stovepipe itself, or you may be able to, in certain cases, actually go right up through the wood stove itself and then go straight up through. The reason I'm not going straight up through the wood stove is because I have this elbow here. It's a 45-degree elbow, and that's going to make it difficult to push it up through. Now, you might be able to do that if you have fiberglass that is, pliable enough. Mine's pretty stiff. It will bend, but a 45-degree turn right here after going in like that, it's going to be kind of difficult. So what I'm going to do is I have an extendable, a telescoping pipe here. What that means is that this thing can simply, all I have to do is remove these three screws, remove three screws here, and I can just bring it down, take the pipe off, clean this separate, and then go straight up through, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to show you how I have this telescoping pipe. If you don't have one of these, I'll put in a link down in the description for this. I'll also have a link in the description for the rods to go up, and also for the poly brush. I'll have those all down in the description. So all I have to do up here is remove the three screws that are on the top. It's a very simple process, doesn't take much time at all. There's one. And so after removing those, I can come down here to the lower level, and all I need to do is unscrew the three screws here. Quick question, you might be wondering, well, how often do I need to clean my stovepipe? There's no one answer to that question, but there is a reasonable process you can go through. Now, your manufacturer will probably suggest to you that the first season at least, you check your chimney pipe every month. And that's because you could be burning some very wet wood. If you're burning wet wood, you're going to have creosote building up. And by the way, what is creosote? Creosote is, as the smoke is ascending through the baffle system and up into your stovepipe, what happens is, as it can condense around as the pipe cools, as it goes upward, it can condense on the pipe. And what that does is it slowly adds up over time, and that's called creosote. Now, creosote itself can be something that can burn your house down, and that's why you have to clean it a minimum of every year. At least you should have it checked every year. If you hardly ever use it, okay, but you probably should have it. If you're burning it, you should check every year, and the first year you should probably check every month. That's because you want to see how it's burning. Now, I'm doing it once a year. This will be, I burned all winter long last winter. We burn exclusively wood when we're home. When we're home, we don't like to use propane at all. When we leave, we keep our house warm so we don't burst the pipes, and we also don't want the house getting mildewy and moldy, so we keep it warm. Even when we're gone, I'm gonna put just a simple covering on the floor. So now that I have this, I'm going to see if I can get this all right. So I ended up unscrewing 3 more screws, and that got me to this point, and now I can simply turn my pipe, and I'm gonna remove it, and I will bring this outside. Now I'm going to be using a trash bag for 2 different things. I'm going to use a trash bag to bring this last piece down, and then I'm going to bring it back for the next job, and that's going to help keep it cleaner, because as I'm taking this down, if any creosote comes tumbling out of here, this will help it to at least have less creosote all over my floor. What I'm doing is I'm taking one of my fiberglass rods, the end that is going to have the poly brush screwed into it, and I take a trash bag, and this is the open end here, and then when I flip it upside down, you have the end that shouldn't be open. But what I did is I punctured a little hole, not directly on the bottom, but just maybe 4 inches off the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply put the rod inside of there. Okay, now I take my poly brush and I screw that in. And you want to get it nice and tight because you don't want to get this thing stuck way up in there. I mean, it's probably unlikely, but it could happen. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put this in, and I'm going to take a rubber band and I'm going to show you how to hook this right around the base of the chimney so that we can hopefully keep as much debris from coming out onto the floor and all over the house. So I'll show you how we do that. So I'm going to take my rubber band here and put that around there. I've got another one. I'm not sure where this one will fit, so let's see. Yep. Okay. So now I'm going to try to hook that trash bag up on here, and hopefully these will hold tight while we're cleaning out the stovepipe. So here we are. I've got my bag here. This is probably the most tedious part, is getting the bag wrapped up around here. Okay, so I've got it up in here, and you simply push up the brush, and then once you get high enough, and obviously I got a little out the hole there, once you get high enough, you can screw on the next rod extension. All right, now I'm onto my third extension rod. And it's pretty simple. You just go right up to the top, and however many extension rods it takes, you go until you hit the top, until you hit your chimney cap. All right, time for number 4. Hey, little side note right here. I've heard it said that there are roughly 25,000 chimney fires every single year. And so this is a very cheap way, $60 one time. Obviously, you can use it for many years to come, especially if you only have to do it every year. My chimney the pipe here is very clean. I probably could easily go 2 years, but for safety, it's still wise to do it every single year. But it was just totally clean. But this could save you having your house burned down. So this is really something to consider. And by the way, if you notice you get stuck on something, sometimes you have to pull it down all the way back before you push it back up again, because sometimes the bristles, once they've gone the wrong direction, can make it so that it's nearly impossible to push it up. So you have to pull it all the way back out and push it back up. One thing that you may notice that may make you realize that you need to do it. Now, don't take this as the only factor. In the beginning, like I said, it's wise to check every month, but if you ever do get to the point where you're having a lot of the smoke come back down, maybe it's burning well for quite some time, maybe weeks or even months, and then all of a sudden you're really having this backdraft of air and smoke is really coming in, that can be because at the very top where your chimney cap is, it could be getting creosote lined all around it so much that the smoke isn't going out well. So if you have that happen, that's another indicator that you need to check it out, make sure that everything's okay, or simply have it cleaned. I hit the top, and so now I'm ready. I simply pushed it up and down a couple times. You probably don't want to do any damage to the top, but I just pushed it up and down a couple times just to hopefully have it cleaned up as much as possible up top. And then I'm going to start the process of coming back down. So at this point, you just do the reverse process. You just start bringing it down, and one extension tube at a time. So we'll do this. And after this, the next step I have is I need to go clean the telescoping pipe that I put outside. I'm going to clean that one outside. I don't want to clean that in my house because that's going to make a lot more dust. All right, here I am at the end. Now I've got the brush in the bag, and I'm going to bring it out just like it is outside. And that way we'll hopefully have as little creosote as possible coming out on the floor. And I have had a little bit come down, but it's pretty insignificant. We'll take a little bit of cleaning after this. And but now I'm going to go out, bring this outside, and work on the telescoping portion of the pipe, and I'll show you how we do that. Right around the edges, you see just a very small amount of creosote. It's probably hard. Oh yeah, you can see in there well. Look at how clean it is. I mean, it's perfectly clean inside of there. And so the majority of the pipe isn't bad. It's more at the joints and the elbow, but even here it's almost nothing. It's really at the elbow where you have it. So what I'm going to do though anyway is I'm going to run the brush down in both ends, make sure that's all cleaned out so that we're good for next year. Now this is in one of the elbows, and this is the weakest link, and you can actually tell when you look in the pipe itself, it was almost clean, but you can see the creosote all around the edges here. And I think simply because it is the elbow, it hits there, condenses, and it's more likely to collect here at the elbow probably than anywhere else. And by the way, going up and down a few times can be more beneficial, so that's always an option. You can see, I mean, you wouldn't say it's clean to eat off of, but all the side creosote, the main, any of the serious debris is generally off now. Well, two more things that we have to do. One of them is a little bit of cleanup. I will clean up again afterward, just everything around it. But I need to clean up, we need to clean inside of the actual wood stove, especially in the baffle or the upper baffle area and all up in here. You can see what's in here right now. And so you can use a brush, something to clean up in there. First, I'm gonna vacuum inside of here before I actually clean inside of, before I actually use something to scrape off the creosote that's inside. So I'm gonna do that quick. Now it's time to put the extension pipe or the telescoping pipe back on and make sure everything is tight in place, the screws are in place, and we're totally safe. Just a side note, one of the reasons why we could go an entire season and have it so clean, other than like we said at the elbows do have a little bit of creosote in there, but otherwise some of it just looks, I mean, totally clean, meaning you know, you could literally see the shining metal around much of it. And the reason is because we burn very dry wood. And the way you can test that, there's multiple ways. I actually have a video on how to check the moisture content of your wood, but one of the simplest and clearest ways is to use a moisture meter. Now, your moisture in your wood should be at least below 20%, somewhere down to 15% or even lower, may even be even better. And so we do burn our wood nice and dry so that we don't have as much creosote. If you're interested in getting one of these, I'll put a link down below in the description. Super cheap. I think I paid maybe 12 bucks or something, but probably 12, 20 bucks. You get yourself a moisture meter. And by the way, the only way to know if it's dry enough, you don't just stick it on the side of the wood. You have to split it and then check it where you just split it, because the outside will dry where the inside is still you know, wet or moist, and so you have to split it and then check it immediately after splitting it. You don't need to do it with every piece, but that'll just give you an idea what moisture content your wood has. But let's get to finishing up, putting on the elbow and then the extendable pipe, and we'll be done. So this is the way that I am easiest able to do this. Like I said, it might be easier for you. If you have a pipe that goes straight up, you might be able to go right in through the baffle. What you need to do then is move away some of the bricks, put them away to the side, or pull them out altogether. And if you do that, make sure you remember which way they go in, or it can be real difficult to remember. And you may be able to put your brush right through your wood stove, and then the creosote comes straight down into the wood stove. You need to clean the upper area there when you're done, clean it out, or you go up from above. Those are the other two options. This is the one that works easiest for me. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notifications, share it with a friend. God bless and have a fantastic day.